I am just your short commercial break out of this whole spiel that you're getting this week, okay? Just like any commercial break, don't hit that skip ad button, okay? Keep your ears tuned. Jason Rose will be back. All the rest of these guys will be back and just filling you full of cool stuff. How many of you have never touched a microfiber towel? Yeah, right. So everybody has had one of these. Not everybody has maybe touched a Rupes machine or dealt with their pads and polishes and stuff like that, or Owner's Pride or some of these other brands. So this is not necessarily unfamiliar grounds for any of you, but we're going to try to dig a little bit deeper. So when you do your shopping for microfiber towels, why they're better, what's better, and so you can get the most bang for your buck. Obviously, the most bang for your buck is with Fibre Factory. But we'll go through a few of those things today. Just kind of run. I'm gonna try to keep this as short as I can, okay? Because I know we got a packed schedule. I know a lot of other things running behind, and I want to hear a lot of other things from a lot of different guys. So, but first of all, I want to thank Richard for the invite to something like this, for Jason for hosting something like this, and Rupes, everything that they're doing for us, allowing us a facility like this right here in Denver, Colorado. To you guys that are here in Denver or in the area of this part of Colorado, what a beautiful part of the country you're in. You have no idea what you have. Coming from the plain states of Illinois, this is beautiful. All I see is soybean and corn. So they yes, they are. That's what feeds us. But my background, I come from a town of Princeton, Illinois, right off Interstate 80. The crossroads of America. But a town of 7,000. So I come from a small town. I'm not in the Chicago suburbs. I'm very out in the middle of nowhere. Born and raised there. Actually, 47 years ago, I did move to the Denver area shortly after I was born, but we moved 6 months later, went back to Illinois. So this is part of home right here. So, but a little background on me and who I am. I come from a lot of the stories that you guys have shared. A lot of the stories we've heard from some of the other brands are very familiar to all of us. We can really identify, oh, I've been there before, been there, done that. That's what I'm doing, or that's what I'd like to do. That's my background as well. I was I was raised touching cars and cleaning cars. My dad was just a neat freak when it comes to cars, kind of borderline OCD, I guess. So every weekend we were out there cleaning the cars with Dawn dish soap, with our toothbrushes and Q-tips, the SOS pads, getting the white walls clean, and all the chrome spokes and the old Oldsmobile hubcaps and stuff like that. The fun stuff before there was the internet and before there was detailing supplies like we know it. So that was my world. I didn't really get interested into detailing as we know it, until I was in high school and turned 16. You've got your own car, you're in high school, and you've got the cleanest vehicle on the lot. People start to recognize that, and you become that guy in a small community. But it was just a hobby to me. I graduated high school. I went to work for a local factory, had a good career there, had a good time. Like I said the other day, then I went to work for my father, spent another 9-10 years working with him, and decided, I really enjoy detailing. And I had no idea. There were in a small community that we were living in, I had nothing to attach myself to. There wasn't stuff like this. The internet was pretty well, you might as well consider it non-existent. There wasn't YouTube. But in the little bit of research that I could do, and you could find guys out on the West Coast that are doing everything mobile. That doesn't work in Central Illinois. But I decided, that's the way that I'm going to do it. So I started off mobile in a van, 100-gallon water tank, compressors and generators, and did it. And that was just a new thing to that community, and really wowed the people for 2 years. 2 years later, that was in 2007. I was 30 years old before I went full time with detailing cars. And that was in 07. 2 years later, what happened in 09? Everybody has kind of shared their stories of 09. But the economy went kind of kaput. I was only 2 years into the business, and detailing being not a necessity expense, more of a luxury. It was hard to get out there and detail cars for a living. You know, I had a wife and 3 kids at home, so it's not like I could take a week off. So that happened in 09. But what that allowed me to do is I went some different avenues, look for other means of income. I took a short stint working with the local Walmart while they did a remodel. They said they just need hands. I said, I can be your grunt guy. So I worked at the local Walmart as they were doing a remodel, and that turned into, as soon as they were done with that, they put me in a position in the front office with the accounting. So that thing, just doing a little bit of grunt work, allowed me the introduction into the big world of how Walmart operations are. Still don't understand it to this day, how they do what they do or why they do what they do. But that was just a very unique opportunity. Once I left there, detailing still wasn't, that was just a short 9 months span. After that, detailing still wasn't what detailing is now for us, or what I wanted it to be. And in 09, I started another business. I'm a sucker. And I went back to my roots of what I was kind of raised in. The business that I had come from was commercial door hardware. So I was selling a lot of these commercial entrances, the exit devices, the door closers, the pivots, the hinges, the thresholds, the hollow metal doors, the storefronts, all that stuff. I opened up my own business. I had the connections from my previous connections, working with my father and working with the factory that I had been at, was all in that world. So I went back to that, and to this day, that business is still operating. It's actually my dad is kind of semi-retired, and he has come back out of his business and joined with our business, and he's kind of ramrodding that whole endeavor. So, but that, in the slow seasons, that is what has propelled us to get through slow seasons in detailing. So I say all that to say, diversify yourself. Don't just say I'm a car washer. Don't say I'm just a detailer. Pick up on these things that these guys are teaching you about PPF, window tint, wrapping cars, doing other things, selling accessories. Man, put a sign up in your window and say I'm a WeatherTech dealer. Sell this stuff. That is what gets you through. Have that 30, 40, 50% margin. Set up product, set up owner's pride in your showroom. Sell that stuff. So it's all about diversifying. I've kind of taken it to some extremes, and we've kind of scaled back a little bit because we've bit off more than we can chew sometimes, I feel. But that was in 09. Let me skip ahead a few years. 09 was the same year that my wife first fell ill with an unexplainable disease where her stomach and intestine was actually paralyzed. So she couldn't eat, drink anything without it coming right back up. And she went from, I think, 145 down to maybe 80 some pounds in a matter of weeks. And is unexplainable, faced near death, numerous. I can't count the times where she has been at death's door. So that was a time where that was all happening, where we were trying to build a business with the door hardware sales, and still wanting to get back into detailing because that's where my heart was. We finally got hooked up with Cleveland Clinic in 11. In 12, I got my first location, probably maybe 700 square foot location where I could do both things, where I could have my office selling door hardware, and also have a space where I could just detail. At that time, I was still rebuilding the business because I was only 2 years old before the recession. We're coming back out of it, and people were more open-minded to it, especially when you get a brick and mortar location. People have a different level of respect, and I saw that right away. It wasn't the greatest looking building, had a gravel parking lot, but it was a location, and we made the best of it. And that was in 2012 when that happened. In 2015, I moved my family to Cleveland so that we could be close to Cleveland Clinic, where my wife was being prepped to receive her kidney for her intestine for transplant. So we moved the whole family to Cleveland. I worked there. I didn't want to go out there and just sit around. We had multiple doctor visits every day, but I didn't want to just go out there and just be lazy and pretend it was vacation. I had an awesome staff back home that I left the shop to. Was it nerve-wracking? Yes, it was the first time that I had done something like that, where I left a shop back home. But I left the shop and went out to Cleveland, and I worked for a car wash. This tunnel car wash had a detail center in the back, and that detail center is what taught me how to go to the next level. You think, at first you say to yourself, I'm going to work at a car wash. To us detailers, we think that's a step back. To me, and I thought that too, but in that moment, that was a step forward. And I didn't realize it until 6 months later, after I had spent 6 months working with that team, how efficiency worked. I had never touched a Rupes machine until I worked at that detail center. I didn't understand paint correction. I didn't understand what could be done, the upselling and things like that. So I came back from Cleveland to Illinois, and I introduced this stuff to my team. And they were like, you want us to do what? We've never done that before. Our focus was a lot of times on interiors. That was our game. We loved doing interiors, paint corrections, coatings. We weren't messing with it. I kicked myself for not getting in the game earlier, but we just weren't there. So that was it. We moved back in 2015. 2016, we opened up our second location. That amount of time we were able to make that move. We had 2 locations. I had a staff of up to, I think at max I was at 12 on my staff. A primary reason for that was because of Rupes. So that was a huge part of how we were able to go to another level. We had 2 locations in a short time. It was a long period, it felt like. But a year and a half later, I decided we were having the home headquarters and the second location. And I said, let's bring it all back into one, because I was going nuts traveling. It was only 20 miles in between the 2 shops, but I was going nuts managing staff at both locations. Both of them were going at 100 miles an hour, and before somebody crashed, I wanted to bring it all in-house. I wanted it in one location. A lot of people hated me for it, but I felt it was the safe thing to do, and I still have no regrets. One of the best decisions we had made. So that was in 2017 is when all that came to be. We moved into a new location, a brand new building, and even propelled us even further, where we had a different level of respect, because you're in a new building. You don't have that gravel parking lot anymore. You don't have that mud hole out front where you had to pull the car around to. You have a blacktop. You have concrete. You have drains. You have lights. You have all this stuff put together. And very, very thankful for all that, because that allowed us to go to another level with window tint. We could now do window tint. We could now do paint protection film. We could now do ceramic coatings. It just allowed us to have that upsellable moment where we could have it with our customers. So that all started shifting in 2017, and then as we all know, COVID hit then. Shortly thereafter, we're enjoying the climb. Then COVID happened, and then with my wife's conditions, I decided, because we all, hindsight's 2020, but my wife had her health conditions, had received a transplant. So I just decided, I'm shutting the doors. We'll just regroup. Again, probably at first I was like, I have fought so many years, but it allowed us to come back to a point where let's rebuild. And we rebuilt in such a strong way. That's when I started bringing on, I was more dedicated on how I hired my employees. How many of you have employees? How many have more than 2? More than 4? I know you got a lot. But having staff is great in a sense, but you don't want to become a babysitter. You don't want it like we talked the other day. That is so frustrating if you got to come in and handle all these petty needs. So we regrouped, downsized significantly in staff size, but that was one of the best things that we had done, because we built back with a strong team. A lot of that team is, I have 7 on my team, 7 or 8 on my team now. 2 of those are my children that I have groomed for the position. My son is actually, he has been installing PPF wrap, that film, that type of thing, since he was 14. So I've kind of groomed and put a lot of things into him. He's almost 19 now, and he is our head installer. So that was in the midst of everything that happened in COVID. We were able to regroup a lot of the brands that we had researched. I love, like all of us detailers, we like testing other products. What do you got? What do you got? You see something flashy on the shelf. Ooh, yeah, I want to try one of those. I come and do an event like this. I want to take some Owner's Pride home. I want to take some CCC home with me. I want to take another toy from Rupes home with me. We're all detailers. We love doing that. And I was guilty of that myself. And I knew that just from my sales background, I knew that I wanted to have a sales showroom. And it was always a struggle having the right product. I was really picky. I didn't want to put a product out there in my showroom that I wasn't using in my back shop. So we would test it in our back shop and know every little thing, every little mix, and how you could tweak it, how you can make it better, or what works and what doesn't work. So that kind of mentality, and now we have a showroom at our newest location, and that allowed us to get into distribution. Again, all because of the shutdown in COVID, we're able to regroup and wrap our heads around some of these things. So we're able to come out of that situation, and we became the distributor that we wanted to be. We're traveling like a 150-mile radius in a box truck and delivering product to detail shops, dealerships, the DIY crowd, traveling to car shows and different events. Tremendous time that we've had doing that. It allowed us to get into dealerships and to other detail shops and get in there and do the training, so that a lot of the people hadn't heard of Rupes. A lot of the people hadn't heard of some of the products that we're very familiar with. So going to these events like this, we're able to get in to do some IDA certifications. We're able to host events, do training, and in all of our paint correction trainings, we use the Rupes system. I think Jason has got a tremendous program, and what he does, you cannot get. Lake Country and Buff and Shine and all those guys, they got tremendous products, but you cannot beat the simplicity of a Rupes machine to teach it to a staff. If you've got multiple people grabbing a machine, get them on the Rupes system. Get them with this color matched, and don't introduce, kind of blending and doing different things. Keep it yellow, yellow, blue, blue, and all these different things. That has been such an easy way to get into other detail shops and to do trainings and certifications, is to using his system. And so thank you, Jason, for what you've given us access to. He's always been just an email away. He's helped us out in a lot of different times. But in the distribution, we saw holes in some of the products. We saw some avenues that we could get into. One of those avenues was towels. I love Rag Company. I love Auto Fibre. I love Levi Gates. I've talked to him for years, and we've gone back and forth. I love the education that he has put out there from a long time ago. Some of that old school Levi Gates stuff that you were there with him, Dan, and just tremendous stuff on detailing, on towels, and just some good content that you guys put out there. So kudos to you, and thank you for your part in that. But for whatever reason, the connections didn't work out with towels. And I'm not going to go into all that, because I think they've got tremendous product. I'm not in no way going to knock anything from Rag Company and what they're doing. Obviously they're a huge success. They're doing something right. But we created our own brand. This is not something that we just source from some other U.S. source. This is something where we have direct connections with the factory. We go through samples after samples after samples, tell them what we like, what we don't like, the blend, the color, the weave, all these different things. We have multiple factories that we deal with. It's not just one factory. We learned, at first we were just dealing with one factory. Now we're dealing with multiple from different parts of Asia. All this comes from that continent. Sorry, it's not born and bred in the USA, but none of us could afford it if it was manufactured here. So we have a whole lot of things going on with Fibre Factory, and we're also even developing. Just in the past year, we've kind of committed. We're even making our own chemical lineup as well. But I'm not here to talk about that. We're going to talk about microfiber towels and what all that has opened up to us detailers. How many of you were raised on using just a terry cloth, a baby diaper, an old t-shirt? Oh my goodness. I remember when I started mobile detailing, it was the McGuire's cleaner wax. Spreading it on. Love the stuff. Love that Gold Class. Anything that had Gold Class label on it. I want that stuff. I'm all over O'Reilly's and Walmart first thing in the morning. I'm grabbing what I can off the shelf, because I didn't have a truck coming to our small town. But being out as a mobile detailer, wiping that stuff back off was just a chore. But along come a lot of newer products, and definitely the microfiber towels have introduced just a whole new way of doing things. With microfiber towels, you've got a lot of different blends. Microfiber is made up of basically two products, a polyester and a polyamide. A lot of you have probably heard this speech. It's all over the internet. So this, if you miss something and I say, let me back up and say this. Everybody get your pen and paper out. As I talk about the towels, and you see one that you want to try, or you want to order a case, whatever you want to get, write that down and hand that in to me with all your information, and I will go in the backdrop of our behind the scenes of our website, and everybody here will get a 50% discount on all the towels. So, yeah, I haven't told anybody back home about that, but that's why I said hand it in to me. Don't email the website and Shane said, don't do that. Don't do that. What do you mean? But this microfiber towels, I know you guys are going to use them, but you can also sell them up front. That's why we offer some of the deep discounts, because we want you guys to be able to, this stuff is some of the coolest looking stuff. And we have more to offer. We're looking at more brands. We're dealing with different factories, so there'd be more stuff. Customers walk in and they see this and they say, how much is this? I've been wanting to take one of these home. So just another opportunity for you. At first, we were all about promoting. We were just selling to other detail shops, because we had the box truck and we had the cases of towels, and we could just walk in and say, here's your towels. But as time went on, we saw, man, this is bigger and bigger and bigger, and other people were wanting it. And we're all about promoting our name, the Fibre Factory name. Love it, and love the look, the logo, and all the money we spent, and all this stuff, and all the labeling. But as we got into it, and just being the detailers that we are, just having that mindset of, man, I like to have my own brand. I like to have my own, to put my name on something means something. Everybody here has thought of your name. It wasn't just the government gave you a name that you have to operate under. All these names like Pops, that means something to you. You chose that name. Black belt means something to you. That's very special. You designed your logo. You designed the look that you wanted. You designed your color scheme that you have throughout your shop. You designed your banners. It's all about who you are. You're creating a customer experience when they walk in your door or they see you on the street with your mobile rig. You're creating an experience for your customers. And what we wanted other shops to be a part of is be able to have their own brand of microfiber towels. You could bring this into your shop. You don't have to call it Fibre Factory. Nobody needs to know where you got these towels. That doesn't matter to me because we want you guys to be a success. Some of these towels are used in some of the very big brands that you guys would recognize. They buy our towels, put their name on it, call it whatever. We have our own name so that we know what we're talking about. We call it certain things, but you call it whatever you want to call it. And you sell it however you want to sell it. We have a suggested retail. That's just from our research, what the towel is worth. And just comparing it with other brands with, same quality and stuff like that, blends. So that's kind of been our newest approach to it and has been a huge success. Because people want to buy towels, they don't want to, towels from other sources have their, everything's logoed up and everything has that look and that's great. I don't have the money to do that. And all the marketing that goes behind that, to sit there and develop content to back up Fibre Factory. I'd rather spend that money to put it in your hands so that it can make you money too. So understanding microfiber towels probably are, I hate to use the word cheapest, but these are some of our cheapest towels. Least expensive, thank you. Most affordable. If you've everybody loves going to Costco and picking up the Kirklands. These towels here are going to be on that level, but better. These are going to be our version of your wipe off the wheel, wipe out the door jams, cleaning the engine and pitch it. This is going to be our answer for that. These come in a couple of pretty wild colors. I let some of my staff kind of, what colors would you like to get? Would you like to see in our lineup? Well, they said, well, we want pink. Pink. Okay. They wanted some green, and they wanted, a lot of our shops call that caca. the brown towel. They call that the caca towel. But they love the caca towel because they know what that's used for. they know what, they can put that in the hands of their staff. Nobody thinks that's a cool towel. That's not a cool color. So everybody understands. So I guess it all makes sense.
I would call it chocolate.
Chocolate, yeah. I didn't call it caca. Just a lot of the people we sell it to call it caca. So whatever.
Chocolate thunder.
I like it. But these here are called we call it the infinity towel.
On the floor, mine now.
Yeah, the infinity towel, just because it's got infinite places. We have some people. I just got a call last week from a little used car lot that uses our towels, and they said, "Well, I need some more of those infinity towels." Oh, great! I'll send you a pack. I said, "What are you using it for?" "We're cleaning glass." "You're what?" "With your caca towel?" And she ordered the brown ones. And I had never heard of using a towel like that for cleaning glass. We have towels that are designed for, and I told her that. I said, "We got towels." "Yeah, but we've tried those, but we like these." So just because we make recommendations on how to use a towel doesn't mean that's. We have, what's his name? Phil Miranda. Everybody know Miranda Detailing on YouTube?
No.
See his stuff? Super cool dude. He uses our towels, and he likes this towel for his coatings. Which you're like, what? That was a new one to me. But he loves using these towels for coatings. Speaking of coatings, here's our couple different towels. a lot of, at least in the beginning of ceramic coatings, a lot of guys were using a pearl weave. Just this certain type of weave is a very low pile and very kind of absorbent, very plush. These towels are thick. They're like a 420 GSM, so they're very thirsty towel. We've got 2 different varieties of that towel as well. A lot of our polish removal, like metal polish and paint polish and stuff like that, this is a pretty hardcore tile. It's called our Zone 360. 360 for, all the things it can do, just 360 degrees, but that is also the GSM on this towel. So it's a very nice absorbent towel. A lot of you guys that may be into rinseless washes, this is a nice towel for that. There's a couple of these these really fluffy towels. A lot of guys like using those for the rinseless washes as well.
What's the pearl towel called?
The Gate. Sorry, I'll start mentioning names. I forgot. You're supposed to be writing down. These are the Infinities. Okay. These here are very similar, not as a little bit taller loop on it, so it's got a little bit higher pile. These are called the Wrigley. This is probably a closer. This will probably be a closer resemblance to like what you're used to seeing it at with the Kirkland towels and stuff like that. Definitely thicker. It's not as thin, but kind of on that level. Wrigley, like chewing gum Wrigley.
It's the same as a Costco. What are those good for?
Just your all around, whatever you want it. I mean, there's just kind of, if they fall on the floor and you have to pitch it, it's not breaking the bank. This one here, somebody mentioned using a towel that had the long and the short fiber on the same towels. I forget who mentioned that. But this is our answer to that. One side has a shorter fiber, one side has a longer fiber. I like using this one for wiping off polish because every certain type of polish is different. It could vary on the humidity in the shop or how long it sat there or whatever. You got a short pile and a long pile on the same towel. This is called our polar opposite. You get it? Polar.
420 GSM or that?
The polar, let me look at my cheat sheet. The polar is a 350. This towel here is one of our glass cleaning towels. It's called the Chillo. A lot of window tinters like this towel. We've got some big names in the window tint world that love using this towel, and they resell it under their own name. So, a good window tinting towel that is called the Chillo. It's a cold towel. It always feels cold, chilly. Get it? Bug scrubber. It looks like everybody else's bug scrubber. It's You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's very soft.
Good.
Scratch is easy.
Yeah. We love it. It's really it's a nice size. It doesn't get lost in your big paws, and it's able to just get in wherever you need to get. A lot of guys like using them on interiors as well. They're scrubbing leather. Richard mentioned I haven't tried this yet, but using this for cleaning glass because of this side just chiseling away at anything, the film and everything that's on glass.
Like vapes and stuff like that, where it coats the
Yeah.
They're very good, those sort of things, for cleaning that vape material of glass. Or even the formaldehyde coming out of the heating system, cooling system, or whatever, and coating screens.
And that is called bug scrubber?
Bugger.
Bugger?
Yep. We're really cool with our names, aren't we? Like I said, you guys call them whatever you want to once you have them, but you gotta know what to call it when you call us. This one here is called our diamond. Why we call it diamond? Because it's got a diamond weave to it. A really great glass cleaning towel because of all the edges that are in it. It kind of, like the bugger, it kind of chisels away at all that film and all that stuff on the glass. Really a nice towel. This looks great in a showroom because it has that shine to it. Customers love seeing that, and that's always, ooh, what's that? Whether they buy it or not, that's what gets them. What else you got? Oh, well, look at this other stuff. So that's a great towel. Everybody has probably used a waffle towel for cleaning glass. This is far and above the best, most popular towel in glass cleaning.
Call it Endo.
we just call it the waffle. Yeah.
We don't know that on this video, so we wouldn't, violate that.
Probably one of our, just recently, definitely one of our most famous towels and most popular towels is the Coral. It's got a nice light weight to it. It's not real heavy. We've got some that are heavier, but this is a good polishing towel. A lot of Ceramic Pro guys, for whatever reason, they love this towel for their coatings. That is like their go-to for their last wipe off. I've never installed Ceramic Pro, but I know the Ceramic Pro, they want this in pink. Imagine that. So we're working on that. But that's called just the Coral 350. It's a 350 GSM. And GSM refers to it, just think of it like this, is how thirsty the towel is. The higher the GSM, the more absorbent that it is. Okay? So this one here is our Coral 350. This one here is our Coral 500. Same weave, same concept, same size. All of our towels are 16 by 16. But this one here's just got more fluff to it. It's definitely a thicker towel. A good one for your quick detail. A good one to put in the car when you're done. The customer takes this home and they're sleeping with it. They love this towel. They love this towel because this is definitely something that you're not going to pick up at the local hardware store.
Does it shed a little bit when they're new?
When they're new, yeah, you want to shake it out. Yep.
What's that one called?
That was Coral 500. This one here is the Coral 1100. Same weave, but just a thicker, heavier towel. A lot of motorcycle guys like this one. You bet.
This is 1100. Oh my gosh. That's got some weight to it.
Yeah. So as far as, how thirsty the towel is, it's 1100. The drying towels that you guys were using yesterday are 1200 GSM. So very similar as far as how absorbent they're going to be. Like I said, a lot of motorcycle guys like to throw this in their carry-ons and their luggage and stuff so they can wipe down their bike. On the twisted loop side of things, the twisted loop are the drying towels that you guys were using yesterday. That's like the industry standard for a drying towel is the twisted loop pattern. That's what's going to be super thirsty. When you first throw it on the car, you say, man, this isn't soaking up water. Once that starts soaking up water and it says, oh, wow, here's the water source. It's like a tree looking for where's the underground river. Once it finds that source of water and it knows that it needs to be picking it up, it's going to go nuts on you, especially if you're using some drying aids to go with it. It'll just go berserk on you. This is a smaller version of what you guys were using yesterday. A lot of them, I have these little loops on there too, so you can hang it up and let it air dry. Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
What is that one called?
Sorry, that is the Twister Junior. The big ones that you were using, Twisted Loop, Twister Junior. The big ones that you were using the other day were the Twisters. So these come in there's a couple different color combos in the box that we have, but these are both the same towel, just different color schemes.